at IISER, Bangalore, under the guidance of Dr. Nagaratna for more than a decade. Presently is working as an assistant professor in the Central University at Rajasthan. Dr. Kashinath has designed several yoga modules for chronic disorders such as Parkinson's, ankylosing spondylitis, asthma, hypertension, etc. He has published more than 45 papers in various national and international journals in the field of Ayurveda and yoga. He has also guided more than 100 research scholars in their master's thesis. So, we welcome you, sir. A warm welcome to Swami Vivekananda Yoga Kendra. Sir will be speaking about importance of yoga from physical to spiritual level. So, all to sir will hear more about sir and the topic. Welcome, sir. So, all yours now.
Thank you, Vijay. It's nice meeting you all, and it is very happy to see a lot of yoga enthusiasts have joined, and it's very wonderful to see all of you. And the positive thing of COVID-19 is to connect everyone, even being in our own places. That's the beauty. So today, before I start, I would like to take a meditation session.
Wow,
so
wonderful.
we will begin with a meditation session. Okay. So just you need to follow my instructions. All of you, sit in any comfortable posture, wherever you are. You can sit on chair, you can sit on floor, you can even lie down in Shavasana. Gently keep both the palms on your knees. And very gently close your eyes. Slowly bring your awareness towards your knees. Relax the knees. Relax your lower back. Slowly bring your awareness towards your palms. Relax the palms, wrist joints. Relax your elbows. And gently drop down your shoulders and let them relax. Slowly go to your facial muscles. Relax all the facial muscles. Drop down your whole body, weight on the ground, and just relax. Now slowly start observing your body from the tip of the toes to the top of the head. And relax all the muscles which are tensed, all the parts which are stiff, consciously. Observe that all the body parts are completely relaxed, static, free from all the stiffness, discomfort, and they're in the state of relaxation. Now observe that the whole body is completely relaxed. It is just the abdomen and the chest which are moving. Just observe the movement of the chest and abdomen. Don't manipulate, just observe. The abdomen is going in, the abdomen is coming out. Just observe. The purpose of the meditation is to create an observer within. Now observe that the movement of your abdomen is associated with your breathing process. Observe that when you inhale, the abdomen is coming out, and abdomen sinks in when you exhale. Just try to be an observer. Now very slowly take a deep breath and bulge out your abdomen. And slowly exhale and sink it down. Take a deep breath in and bulge out your abdomen. Exhale and sink it down. Inhale, bulge out. Exhale, sink it. Slow and deep inhalation, which is effortless. Slow and complete exhalation. Now very slowly bring your awareness towards the tip of your nostrils. Feel the different sensations at the tip of your nostrils while you inhale and exhale. Observe that when you inhale, there is a cool air entering in your nostrils. And as you exhale, there is a warm air going out from your nostrils. Continue this breathing for a few more rounds. Slow and deep inhalation and the cool sensation at the tip of your nostril. Slow and complete exhalation, the warm air going out of the nostrils. Further, observe that when you exhale, your body is becoming lighter, lighter, and more relaxed. As you exhale, you are letting go all the stresses, the tensions, the worries from your mind, and becoming lighter and lighter and relaxed. Slow inhalation and the long exhalation. And as you exhale, you are becoming lighter and more relaxed. Now slowly bring your awareness towards your throat region. Now let us practice Bhramari Pranayama. Just you have to say no from your throat with the closed mouth while you exhale. Slowly take a deep breath. Inhale. Inhale. Now let us chant Omkara for 3 rounds. Take a deep breath. Feel the relaxation in your body and feel the lightness in your mind. Very slowly bring the image of a person who is very, very beloved to you, who is very close to you, who understands you as you are, and who is always a kind of mentor in your life, and who is a person who supports you. Just bring his face in front of your eyes. Look at his face or her face, a smiling face. See, he is saying you that He is there with you all forever. He will be always supporting you. Feel supported, feel secured, feel balanced, and say thanks to Him for being in your life. Very slowly, bring the image of a God to whom you worship. Feel the connectedness with the God and say thanks for all that what you have in your life, irrespective of pain and pleasure. Thanks to Him for being there, for protecting you, for supporting you in your life. Surrender yourself to Him. Say that my pain, my pleasure, my happiness, my sorrow, my good, my God, my bad, everything is because of you. I surrender my whole self to you. You are the ultimate. You are my Guru. And you are my master of life. Just surrender and do namaskara to the God. Very gently come to body consciousness and slowly rub your palms. Gently give a warm massage to your face. And very slowly open your eyes. Namaste. Good evening. So I have a few slides to show. Vijayaji, can you make me co-host?
Yes, sir. I think I'll have to ask Jagdish, sir.
So how you felt? Can anybody share your experience of meditation? Amita Ghosh wants to share.
Amita ji, unmute. Please unmute. You're still muted. Amita ji, please unmute.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah. Good evening, sir. Nice
Evening.
to see you once again with us.
Same
We are
here.
so proud to feeling very nice seeing you here. Well, the meditation has really put me into a trance, basically. I went into a small trance. So thanks for giving me that feeling. Thank you so much.
Anyone else would like to share?
Sir, good evening and
Namaste.
namaste. Nice to see you again. And it was an excellent relaxation today, and quite a bit of tensions, whatever I was having today in the afternoon. I feel now completely relieved and feeling peaceful. Thanks you. Thanks a lot.
It's very nice to see you, sir, again after a very, very long time.
Yes,
Thank-
madam.
Yeah. Thank you for the wonderful experience.
Thank you, sir. Nice to see you.
Thank you. Same to you, Somadhi.
Sir, your co-host now.
Soma and that was Raghavan sir. They were our students. Kashinath sir, if you remember
Yes.
them.
Yeah, I know them very well.
Kashinath sir, I specifically remembered you on the Yoga Day, International Yoga Day,
Okay.
about your lecture on stress management.
So, sir, you are co-host now.
Yes.
You can see the screen, sir.
So screen is visible.
It is visible, but put it on slideshow.
Yes.
Slide. Yes, sir.
So why I asked experience, how you felt experience is, whatever the positive experience or whatever the practice you do, it is very important for you to just go back and see how you felt, what you experienced, all that. That is very important because that gets feed in your memory and it connects with your experience. So that makes your feeling stronger and it has a very strong impact on the physiology also. Okay. That's why it is very important to appreciate our feeling. Many psychological disorders, like for example, post-traumatic stress disorder, we say. So whenever we undergo any very traumatic, painful situation, we keep on rewinding that. We keep on so we keep on appreciating what we have done, what we have undergone. So that's why that memory gets locked in our system, and that converted into post-traumatic stress disorder. So today we will talk how important the health from physical to spiritual. So let me start with a question. What is the purpose of our life? Can anybody?
Self-realization, sir.
Self-realization, very good. What else?
Unmute and speak.
Be happy, sir.
Be happy, very good.
So,
To be physically, mentally, and emotionally fit.
Be fit, physically, mentally, emotionally. Very nice.
so
For
purpose of
moksha.
life is to know your own self.
Know yourself, moksha, liberation,
To live life to the fullest.
to live life to the fullest, to experience the life as a whole. Okay, very good.
To
So
realize the ultimate reality.
to realize the reality. Very good. So you all have already answered very correctly. Now let us see what our ancient scriptures or what our ancient sages have an answer for this question. So this is not the question which is posed now. So this question was, you will get in Vedas, you will get in Upanishads, and not only the question you get, you also get answer to this question. So what is the answer? What is the answer? Answer in our scripture is, they say, Purushartha. Artha is, what is Artha? Artha is meaning. Purusha is the soul, Atma. Our scripture believes that we are not this body, we are not this mind, we are not this Panchakosha. We are something beyond that, which they called it as Purusha, is our Atma. Now, what is what is the purpose of this Atma being into this body and going through this cycle of birth and death, is they termed it as Purushartha. Okay? So there are 4 fundamental purposes of the life. Okay. The first one is dharma. What is dharma? Yes, anybody?
The
What is-
results of actions.
Actions. Yes. So for our understanding, what is dharma? Dharma is our duty. So we all are bound with some or other activity, some or other duty to perform. For example, for a mother, taking care of her child, nourishing her child is her duty. For a father, taking care of his family is his duty. For a politician, taking care of his society is the duty. For a doctor, taking care of his patients is his duty. So we all are bound with some activities, okay, to be performed, for which we are responsible. Those responsibilities are dharma. Okay, so mother has to do her dharma, father has to do his dharma, politician has to do his dharma. So we all have something to do in this life.
धर्म म्हणजे काय सांगतो एक वाक्य ऐकतेस तू ते
Sorry?
धर्म म्हणजे काय आज तू
धर्म म्हणजे काय? Sorry, any questions? Okay. So dharma is, for our understanding, let us keep it as the duty. ठीक है? कर्तव्य, हमारे जो कर्तव्य है वो सभी हम धर्म के दायरे में डालेंगे. So every one of us have something to do, है ना? तो that is dharma. Then artha is to gain, to collect. So artha can be knowledge, artha can be money, artha can be property, artha can be name, artha can be becoming famous, isn't it? So we all are here and we want something to gain. है ना? जैसे कि हम सभी बैठे हैं, हम एक दूसरे से वार्तालाप कर रहे हैं. क्यों कर रहे हैं? Because we are striving to get some information, some knowledge, isn't it? Isn't it? So this is the artha. So we are not only here to perform our duties. Of course, every one of us, we are doing our duties. And in addition to that, we also want to gain, isn't it? To make our life comfort. So that is artha. So that is also one of the purpose. And then kama. Kama is desire. Okay. We all are here to fulfill our desires. Isn't it? Everyone have got some desires. Isn't it? To become a good doctor, to become a good father, to become a good politician, or it can be simply I want to climb Mount Everest, or I want to visit many places in the world. I want to live a luxurious life, whatever. Isn't it? I want to purchase a car, I want to purchase a house. All of these are the desires. So we are not only here to gain knowledge or gain money or become famous or to do some duty. We are also here to fulfill our desires. Now, when we are done with dharma, artha, and kama, so this quota get completely fulfilled. Then we get this inner feeling, or we can say the inner voice saying that I want to get liberated. So there is nothing in dharma, there is nothing in artha, there is nothing in kama. So I want to be detached from all that. So that is the state of moksha, where you want to go beyond all this. Okay, you are doing kama, you are doing artha, you are doing dharma, but you want to do it in a detached way. That is moksha. Moksha is not always you want to renounce everything. Moksha is not always something after death. Isn't it? It can be in living condition also. So you are there in the family, you are doing all activities, you are doing everything as a normal person, but still you are in a state of moksha. It is called as Jivan Mukta. It is said in Bhagavad Gita. So one can live a life of Jivan Mukta. Okay. So then a person desires to get moksha. So these are the four fundamental purposes of the life. Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha. In fact, all of us, we are having all these things in our life currently. Isn't it? So we do our activities, like for example, we do our dharma, and sometimes it is painful to us. Sometimes while doing actions, we go into conflicts, and that conflict is so distressing that we feel that why I am doing it. Isn't it? So how beautiful it is, you are doing your dharma and you are not having any distress, any conflict. That can happen only when you have moksha, or you are doing dharma in the state of being into moksha, okay, detached way. Okay. So this is the purpose of the life. Now, this is what Ayurveda says. It is that is dharmartha sukha sadhanam arogyam moolam uttamam. They say if you want to achieve purushartha, the fundamental purpose of the life is to achieve purushartha. And if you want to achieve purushartha, very important thing is you have to be healthy. Okay, health is the most important requirement to get purusharthas. Okay? So if you are not healthy, you cannot perform your duty. So you cannot perform your dharma. So if a mother is sick, she cannot take care of her child effectively. If a father is sick, he cannot be productive to his family. If a politician is sick, he cannot take care of his society well. So you forget about moksha. So health is the most fundamental, important requirement to achieve purushartha. Okay. So this is what Ayurveda says. And every one of us have experienced it. Isn't it? Health is very, very important. So if you do not have health, you cannot do anything. Then what is this health? What is this health? So is this the health is something normal reports? So if I get my blood pressure done, it is normal. Am I healthy? I get all the blood tests done, all the blood tests are normal. Does that mean I'm healthy? Or is it a strong willpower? So even though I am not physically fit, but I have very strong willpower. Okay, so I overcome everything, every hurdle in my life. Does that mean I am healthy? Is it a robust body? So musculature, the six packs, no zero fat, zero figure nowadays we call, isn't it? So is that the health? So is that a highly intelligence determines our health, or is it is it a socially activity, or is it a very socially active thing that determines our health, or is that the health? The thing is, health is not a single entity. Health is not something related to only physical body. Health is a concept. Okay? Health is a concept. And health has several dimensions. Okay? Health has several dimensions. So here I am quoting few of them. First is the physical dimension. Health has physical dimension. Health has emotional dimension. Health has mental dimension. Health has social dimension, and health has spiritual dimension also. Okay. So when you call healthy, yourself healthy, make sure that with which dimension you are healthy. So from physical dimension, I'm healthy. Okay, what about emotionally? Am I healthy? What about spiritually? So you have to, health is a concept and it has got several dimensions, and we have to make sure that we achieve all that. Okay. It's not only the modern medicine speaks, it is about, even our ancient scriptures says, if you see the definition of health according to Ayurveda, it says samadosha samagnisha samadhatu malakriyaha prasanna atmendriya manaha. So dosha, dhatu, mala, these are the physical and physiological aspects. Prasanna atmendriya manaha. Atmendriya manaha is the emotional and spiritual aspect of the health. Okay. And they also mention about achara rasayana, and achara rasayana is something related to the social health. Okay. What is the physical dimension of the health? Now, physical dimension of the health is normal functioning of the body. Normal functioning of the body. Now, in order to achieve the physical dimension of the health, what is so important is the diet, the exercise, and the sleep is very, very, very important. Nowadays, so we all are facing a lot of non-communicable disorders. Now, these non-communicable disorders, what research has found is non-communicable disorders are, the primary cause of the non-communicable disorder is the unhealthy lifestyle. Now, in the unhealthy lifestyle is, these are the components: diet, physical activity, the sleeping pattern, the habits, and all that. Okay. Now, in order to be physically fit, you have to take care of your diet. So what kind of diet we should have? We should have a healthy and complete food. Now, what is healthy food, and what's wrong with the food what we are having nowadays? The very important component in the food, which is culprit nowadays, is the refined stuff. Anything refined is dangerous to this body. Anything refined is dangerous to this body. Refined oil, refined salt, refined sugar, refined flour, पैकेट का आटा, ये जो हम खाते हैं, that all is very dangerous to this body, because refined stuff has a very negative impact on the physiology. It disrupts, it creates the chaos in the metabolism and leads to various metabolic disorders such as obesity, hypertension, heart disease, thyroid problems, and so on. Okay. So try to eliminate the refined stuff from your diet. Okay. And avoid preservatives. Preserved foods. So preserved food are added with a lot of preservatives, and they are very dangerous to this body because they contain a lot of dangerous chemicals. Okay. Then very important is the exercise. Okay. Exercise. Now it is not only to build up the muscles. It's not only to balance the input and output thing, like how much we eat, that much we have to work out. It's not only like that. The exercise is related to lot of hormonal production. So when we exercise, our body produces a lot of good hormones. And these hormones are like, it also enhances melatonin, it also enhances serotonin, it also enhances endorphins, it also enhances ghrelin, and it also regulates the insulin production and insulin utilization. In fact, you might have heard, like whenever the people who have diabetes, so if they go to doctor, they advise them to do a lot of physical activity, because physical activity has a positive impact on the metabolism. Okay. And it also controls the blood pressure. So exercise is very, very important. So in relation to exercise, it should be regular activity, okay, and it should be adequate. Now, how to determine whether I have done adequate physical activity or not? Some people, they say that they walk for 2 kilometers, they walk for 4 kilometers, and still their blood glucose is not controlled and all that. The thing is, when you do physical activity, make sure that you sweat. Okay? Ayurveda gives this sign, or give this range. So how much we should exercise? We should exercise till we sweat, okay? And till you feel like breathing difficulty, like you gasp, okay? So you should have air hunger, and your heart rate should go high, maximum to your capacity. So at least 120 to 130 beats per minute. Okay. So if you can do that, so that means you have activated your metabolism and your exercise is adequate. Now, I will not say that yoga is exercise, but yoga has a different aspect in total. The physiology of the yoga, or the impact of the yoga on the system, is completely different. Okay. And so exercise is to just bring your metabolic rate up and burn it all. Even that you can achieve with the yoga asanas like Surya Namaskara and all that. In addition to that, if you perform yogasana, it not only works at your metabolic level, it also goes deeper. It goes deeper to your autonomic nervous system, and it helps to balance the autonomic nervous system. That is the beauty of the yoga. So that we will see in the later slides. So sleep is also very important component in the physical health. So adequate and deep rest every day, minimum say 7 hours of rest, is very, very important. Now, what are the signs of physical health? So when we should say that I'm physically healthy, these are some from Ayurveda and yoga perspective. You should feel light, so you should not feel heavy in your body. So there should be lightness in the body. You should feel hungry. Okay, make sure that at least once in a day you should feel hungry, like what I should eat, what I should not eat. So anything you I mean, ऐसे बोलते कि जोर से भूख लगना हम बोलते हैं, तो ऐसे जोर से भूख लगना चाहिए दिन में कम से कम एक बार। तो तब तक आपको वेट करना चाहिए खाने की। अभी आजकल हमारा कैसा हो गया, रूटीन हो गया। So 8 o'clock breakfast, 1 o'clock lunch, 8 o'clock dinner, isn't it? So we eat on time. So on this whole planet, it is the only human being who eats on time. No other animal, they eat on time. They eat whenever they are hungry, isn't it? So eat whenever you are hungry, and you should feel hungry every day. Okay? That is a sign that you are healthy. If you don't feel hungry, okay, if you don't feel strong hunger, that means something wrong with your metabolism. And body, you should not feel heaviness, you should not feel pain, you should not feel stiffness. It should be light, as if you don't have body. So you should not feel your body. And thirst, you should feel thirsty. जोर से प्यास लगना चाहिए, जोर से भूख लगना चाहिए, and body में हल्कापन रहना चाहिए. These are the healthy symptoms. Then the bowel movements, आपके bowel movements जो है रेगुलर होना चाहिए और नॉर्मल होना चाहिए. जैसे हम जाके बेड पे सो गए, you should get into sleep as early as possible, and you should go deep into the sleep. And as soon as you get up in the morning, you should feel the bowel movements. आपको जैसे ही उठते ही motion का feeling आना चाहिए. These are the signs of healthy body. Okay, that means you are healthy. If there is anything is missing, then you have to think of. Then the emotional dimension of the health. So emotional health, emotional dimension of the health. कैसे होना चाहिए? हमारे emotions balanced होना चाहिए. I will not say that you should not get angry. I will not say that you should not feel sad. I should not say that you should not feel anxiety. You should, but it should be balanced. It should be appropriate. It should be in adequate quantity. It should not be too much. Okay? And they should be cultured. Okay? They should be cultured. You should have an ability to tame your violent emotions. Okay? In that case, I would say you should be using your emotions, not the emotions are using you. Okay? So people who have uncontrolled anger, so in them, the anger is using them. So they don't have any control over their anger. But how it should be? It should be whenever you want, you get yourself angry and you get the work done, and again you become silent. Okay? So you are using the emotions. So tamed violent emotions. Then abundant of positive stress coping strategies. Now every one of us have stress. Every one of us have stress. In fact, stress is a very it has become very inseparable part of our life. But whenever we face stress, whenever we get into the stress, so in order to come out of the stress, we adopt some strategies. Some people smoke, some people drink, some people talk to their friends, some people go for walks, some people listen to music, isn't it? So there are some positive coping strategies, there are some negative coping strategies. So person with a good mental health should have abundant of positive stress coping strategies. So you find out when you have stress, what you do. Are you get yourself lost into the work? Are you go for walk? Or do you shout on somebody? Isn't it? So find out, and you should have abundant of positive stress coping strategies like walking, talking, yoga, meditation, pranayama, isn't it? Talking to friend, isn't it? Getting counseling, all those are the positive coping strategies. So we should have that. Then ability to control our thoughts and develop positive thoughts. So some people have this ability. Now whenever they start getting negative thoughts, they become aware of it. Okay, now I'm feeling angry. Now I'm feeling very violent thoughts about a particular person. Now I'm feeling like I should go and hit him, shout at him, scold him. But I'm aware. So these all are at my feeling level. I'm getting such thoughts. I'm feeling in such and such way. So let me take a deep breath. Breathe out slowly and completely. And slowly I start seeing the things as they are. What he has done. Is he doing all this purposefully, or is he having any tension, any stress? Because of that he is doing. So give it time. So are you able to do that? Okay. So that determines your emotional health. And you should be doing that. And gradually you see that you started getting positive thoughts, and you can change your attitude, you can change your emotions once you change your thoughts. Okay. Then very important is emotional intelligence. Okay. Emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence is the ability of the person to observe his own emotions, to understand his own emotions, to recognize his own emotions and channelize them in a proper way. Okay. So many people, they are unable to recognize their own emotions. Okay. So they have some problem with their family, and or something, and when they go into the job, they make some mistakes, or they shout at the workers, or it can be otherwise. So they have some stress in the job, and they come home and they shout at kids, they shout at wife, they shout at parents. Why this is happening? Because they are unable to understand their feeling stressed. So emotional intelligence ability to see that I am stressed and manipulate that, ventilate that, instead of suppressing it, instead of repressing it. So they are able to ventilate it in a positive way. Okay. Not only that, emotional intelligence recognizes the ability of the person to understand others' emotions, how she must be feeling, how he must be feeling, why he is saying that, why he is feeling that, why she is feeling that. So we understand their emotions, and we are able to counsel them, we are able to help them overcome their emotional difficulties. Okay. Are we doing that? That determines our emotional health.
Just one question. What do you mean by cultured?
Culture is, we have to culture the emotions, like whenever we get stressed. So there are people who have a tendency that whenever they get stressed, they become angry. There are people who, whenever they get stressed, they have a tendency to become sad, depressed. There are people who have a tendency, whenever they get stressed, their stress converted into anxiety. So now we have to culture it. So don't get stressed. So now I have got stressed. Why I got stressed? Because I have got some work. Now we have to relax the stress, relax ourselves, and take up that challenge and give a positive attitude to that, and use the same stress power to get that work done. This is culturing the emotions. Now emotions are violent, or emotions are haywire. So whenever I get stressed, I become anxious. Whenever I get stressed, I become sad. Whenever I get stressed, I become angry. Now I will tailor it. So that is culture.
Thank you.
Then the mental dimension. Mental dimension is related to emotions are related to how you feel. Now mental is how you experience, how you interpret your experiences, and how you behave with others. All that is the positive. All that is the mental health. So positive attitude. Are we optimistic, or are we pessimistic? Isn't it? Are we? Do we get a positive? Do we have positive attitude in our life? Okay. If something is happening, if some person is doing something, are we seeing some positivity into this, or we will just comment like that? We will pass a negative comment, or we will promote that person, or we will encourage that person. So what kind of personality we are? Okay. So we have to change that to positivity. Okay. We should have positive attitude in our behavior. So positive behavior. Okay. And you should also be able to understand the situation, and you should also be able to understand your feeling, how you are experiencing the situation, and you should be able to manipulate that. You should be able to correct that. Then social dimension. Social dimension is how you get along with the others. Okay. So for that, you need a lot of tolerance. You need a lot of patience, isn't it? Because group of people have different personalities, and sometimes we may not like behavior of some person. We may not like comments of the other person. So you should be able to tolerate all that, and you should be overcome that. And more than that, you should have a ability to express in a positive way, in a very convincing way to the group of people. For that, you need a lot of emotional intelligence. For that, you need a lot of patience, lot of understanding, isn't it? So all that, can you influence a group of people, okay, in a positive way and take them to the right direction? Are you able to convince? That determines your social dimension, and how easy for you to go with the people, how easily you assimilate with the people, how easily you mingle up with the people. That is the social dimension of the health. Then very important is spiritual dimension. Spiritual dimension is how you connect yourself with the higher. With the higher in the sense it can be nature, it can be God, it can be your belief, isn't it? So how you are able to surrender yourself, how you are able to connect to your God, connect to someone like your father, like your mother, or like that. Your belief system, how you experience silence. So some people, when we ask them to just close your eyes and start feel this thing, that thing, they start feeling irritation because they cannot. In fact, some people, they cannot even close their eyes, because as soon as they close their eyes, they start feeling suffocation, they start feeling restlessness. Okay? So you have to go beyond that. So how you feel silence, how you experience silence, that is very. Demonstrate compassion. So are you able to compassionate others? Are you able to forgive others? Okay. These are the spiritual dimensions of the health which one should have. Okay. So with this, I think I have already exhausted the given time, and thank you very much for this opportunity to be all of you, and it's very nice to be with all of you, and I would be happy to take up some questions if you have. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Can I refer first?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I have had a very peculiar problem. Generally, what happens is when I become angry or restless, I become completely aware. Okay, now I'm getting angry. It is an habituation, and then I find that I soften. My anger goes off, and I get softened, and I'm able to have a control over myself. But there are times, when I'm not able to do that restlessness, though I'm very aware, I'm still not able to control it, and still I feel, I don't know how to handle that situation. Can you just tell me what I should do that time?
Yes. So one thing is, the first step in the emotion nurturing and culturing and diverting is the recognition of the emotion. Now you have very nicely achieved that state. Now for you, now it has become very easy to recognize the emotion. So whenever you feel something, you have this ability to go in and see that what is happening inside. Okay. So first step is you have recognized that this particular emotion I am going through. Okay. Now some emotions which are very mild, now when they come into surface, you see, and for them just observation itself is sufficient to make them silence, calm down, everything. But some emotions, they're little stronger. Okay. Only just looking at them is not sufficient. You have to do something. Isn't it? You have to do something. For example, maybe there are some cats. So some cat is very anxious. So when it comes, even just you look at it, it will disappear. It will run away. But some cats are very strong. Even if you look at them, they don't get fear. They will be there. Then you have to take some stick and you have to hit, then they run away, isn't it? So like that, our emotions are also. So when the emotions are stronger, they need some action, not only the awareness. So first you have to be aware, then you have to recognize whether it is the anger, whether it is the sadness, whether it is what. So for example, it is anger. Now you have to see that, yes, I'm getting angry. Why I'm getting angry? I'm getting angry because of this particular person. So because of this particular emotion, now slowly take up that anger and bring it up to the neck, and from there you bring it up to mouth, and then bring up to the forehead region. And now bring it in your nose. Now do Kapalabhati. Fast Kapalabhati. Now I have thrown away all the anger. Okay. Okay. Like that. So gradually you have to practice. So once you've thrown away all that anger, now you do Nadi Shuddhi Pranayama. Take a deep breath. Breathe out slowly and completely. Or you can chant Brahmani. So some emotions, they require action.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. This is very nice. I will definitely try this technique. I will definitely try. Thank you.
Anyone else would like to?
Sir, in line with Jayanti ji, what she said, this is for the elderly people who can actually try to manage their emotion. But how about kids? Like my daughter, she's full of Agni Tattva. So she is, when she gets angry, she tries to like suppress it, but then it impacts her health. She sometimes feels very acidic. Like she says that I have started headache because of that. So for kids, how to manage this?
Excuse me, sir. Are you there? Sir,
He's gone offline. He's just busy.
yeah. Just a moment. Just sir will be coming. Yes, sir. Jagdish sir, if you can answer her question.
I would like. Kashina sir is not there. I will answer. Let me give him the privilege first. But I thank all of you, all the participants, all the sadhakas here for concluding this program for the 5 days of celebration. Okay.
Sorry, I got disconnected.
Sir, you can answer the question, sir.
Jagdish, yeah, sir is there.
Yes, what is question?
Pooja's question. Chai.
Yeah.
Pooja, you can continue.
Yeah, sir, in line with what Jayanti ji said, you told that for adult people, we can actually manage that stress or that particular emotion by doing some kriyas like which you told. But how it has to be done for the kids? Because I have my daughter, she has very strong Agni Tattva. She gets angry very easily. And and she knows that she is getting angry and that's not good. Then she tries to suppress it even. But that impacts her health in a way that she feels like her acidity has increased or she is having some headache because of that suppression which she tried to do. So how to handle this for kids?
Anybody else in your family, the adult who is having that anger kind of personality?
Yes, her father is of that kind of, like, he is also like that.
Yeah, these emotions, kids, they learn. Okay. Right. Kids, they don't know what is anger, what is anxiety, but they learn it from the elders. So, so schooling doesn't work, isn't it? So we have to work at a different. So when it is kids, you cannot just correct the kid. So before that, we have to correct the members. Their ideal persons, isn't it? So, so one way you have to correct the people's emotions in the family, and the other way is for her, she has to see this anger is energy. Okay, anger is in the children is energy. You have to exhaust that energy. So you have to give them time. You have to play with her, and whenever she is getting angry, accept that anger. You don't react to that. More you react, more it gets multiplied. So accept that. Okay, it's okay you are feeling angry. I am there with you. It's okay. It's okay to feel anger. Isn't it? So like that you have to play. They have to play more and they have to exhaust that energy. And the other very important thing is the person in your family who is having that tendency. He has to demonstrate the compassion also. He has to demonstrate the silence also, so that she will learn, okay, anger is also there and this is also there. So she will learn the compassion. She will learn, or some other person should be like who is silent, who is very much kind. So that person has to spend some time with her.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
even pranayama, even asanas, they help them.
Thank you, sir.
How old she is?
She is 9 years old.
9 years. Start asana pranayama.
Okay. Yeah.
Start asana pranayama.
Yes,
And there are some yogic games.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Hello. Anyone else?
You can conclude the session.
Yeah. So I think sir has explained everything so well that we don't have any questions or any doubt about anything. And we need to really apply whatever sir has said in our practical life and then see how it, is transforming. So I think Jagdish ji, conclude the session. Jagdish ji.
Yes, thank you very much, sir. Thank you, Dr. Kashinath.
Thank you very much
Wonderful
for
session.
Thank you.
You all enjoyed it.
I too enjoyed
Thank you all of you participating in this 5 days program, giving your
Thank you, sir. Thank
time
you,
with
sir.
us.
Thank you, sir.
I hope you all enjoyed it. Thank you all of you.
Nice session.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you,
sir. Thank you very much.
Yes, you all.
Conclude with Santi.
End this session. Thank you.